in the spring of 1944 is Dr. Guy Bellamy and Dr. E.W. Perry around this table at the First Baptist Church of Oklahoma City with, I believe it was about 200 other pastors. And then we saw, as we read through these excerpts, early in 1953, there were simultaneous revivals in the city of New Orleans. But it started 9 years before in Oklahoma City, and then it spread throughout the country.
Right.
And that's what you've been saying for a long time.
Right. It started here in Oklahoma City, and then it spread in other areas of our country, but it had its beginning here. The African Americans, as we would call Negroes then, Negro Baptists, and the Southern Baptists, who were the white Baptists, and the Hispanics Baptists, and the Indians, and all churches all over this city became a part of that simultaneous revival, and all of them were of the Baptist faith. They united together, and this, you know, what a week that was. And actually, it was 2 weeks then. 2 weeks where all of these churches were in revival, the same time, same worship time in the evening, somewhere around 7 o'clock each evening, in their various churches. And then every morning they came together at the First Baptist Church downtown. And then during that time, the Negro Baptists started a noonday service over here in Northeast Oklahoma City at one of the churches that was a part of the revival, and all of those Negro churches, along with even some of the Southern Baptist churches, would come over and visit during that noonday hour, and that happened for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It started back in 44. When I arrived back in Oklahoma City at Fairview in 63, which was 19 years later, it was still going strong and grew after that. We had somewhere approximately around 40 churches or more in Northeast Oklahoma City alone that participated.
Interest in the simultaneous effort is growing. But I'm telling you, when these Negro preachers get fired up, you can't stop them. So they couldn't stop us.
No.
We kept going.
We kept going.
And he said that WT Watts and Dr. E.W. Perry were working day and night preparing the people, as well as the lay people, like Dr. F.D. Moon, who was the longtime principal at Douglas High School. Tell us a little bit about Dr. W.T. Watts and Dr. F.D. Moon, because they were instrumental as well.
Well, Dr. F.D. Moon, you know, was not only principal of Douglas High School, but he was a faithful member of Tabernacle Baptist Church. So Dr. E.W. Perry was his pastor.
Yes.
And Dr. Moon, when I said faithful, he was a deacon of the church. He was a Sunday school teacher. All of that, he, you know, as being he was a strong layman of the Christian faith, and so he followed the leadership of his pastor. Just simple as that. W.T. Watts, Southern Baptist, decided to make available for the African American churches what we call a Christian education director, for Christian education training and all of that among our churches here in Northeast Oklahoma City. And so they provided that, and W.T. Watts was given that position here in Northeast Oklahoma City with all of the African American Baptist churches. Southern Baptist provided a building on Northeast and 7th Street at first, and then later over on 36th Street, where W.T. Watts was the director, and that's what he was. He was a Christian education director, and he led workshops and seminars and conferences and all of that in all of our churches here in Oklahoma City, and of course that was provided by Southern Baptist Convention.
Right. Right.
Los Angeles was its usual interesting, exciting self when Guy Bellamy went there in 1954. But he had no time for the sights of the city. His interest was centered in a Negro State Convention meeting in the Mount Sinai Baptist Church. "This is a great church," Dr. Bellamy said enthusiastically to the pastor, Dr. H.B. Charles. "Your members tell me it's only 3 years old." "That's right," the minister nodded. "Would you like to see where we started?" School was out that afternoon. I went to see the principal, Frederick D. Moon. Dr. Bellamy had told me a great deal about the church activities of Mr. Moon. I knew he was a deacon at Tabernacle Baptist Church, taught a Sunday school class, and worked in the Brotherhood. I knew he had been instrumental in bringing about the cooperation of Negro and white Baptist pastors and the simultaneous revivals back in 1943. That same day, I went by Tabernacle Baptist Church to visit with Frederick Moon's pastor, Dr. E.W. Perry. Dr. Perry welcomed me to his worn-looking study in the back of a fine, large church. He and the study seemed to go together. Dr. Perry had been pastor of this church for more than 40 years, but the elderly minister is still the beloved spiritual advisor of his flock. The minister talked to me for some time about his church and his people in the light of present-day racial unrest. He emphasized and then reiterated that Christianity, real, heartfelt Christianity, had to be the answer. Love and understanding were the keys, he said, not violence and hate. "Do you suppose white and Negro Baptists will ever make a practice of worshiping together?" I asked. His face broke into 1,000 wrinkles as he leaned back in his chair and laughed. "I doubt it," he said. "It's hard enough to keep my people in a good humor without adding any of yours." He continued to laugh for a moment, then went on more seriously. "I don't think you'd enjoy our service every Sunday, nor would we enjoy yours. There are distinct differences in our forms of worship, though our fundamental beliefs are the same." He paused, and I caught the shadow of the same sadness that I had seen on the face of Frederick Moon. "I would like to feel free to go to your church and would like to be sure of a welcome there." Then his kindly smile came back. "I certainly want you and all of your people to know, beyond any doubt, that you are welcome to worship in my church any day at any service."
Here we have Guy Bellamy. He is going across the United States of America trying to connect with African American pastors. Here he is in Los Angeles with Dr. H.B. Charles Sr. And connecting with him. And we know that Dr. H.B. Charles Sr., he preached your simultaneous revival for a number of years. Mm-hmm. So here he is, he's connecting with Dr. E.W. Perry, and these simultaneous revivals are being duplicated around the United States of America. This man was a visionary, and Dr. Perry was a visionary as well, to have the foresight to say, I'm going to be joined at the hip with this man so we can propagate the gospel message of Jesus Christ throughout this country.
But here was a Southern Baptist preacher who not only brought us together for evangelistic purposes and winning souls to Christ, but brought us together as brothers and sisters in Christ.
That's right.
That we could share together with each other and go out to win souls for Christ. Something that had never happened before happened with the simultaneous revival.
Yeah.
And that's one reason Dr. Perry was making a statement that that the simultaneous revival had done more to help bring African Americans and whites together than all of the politicians put together.
Yeah.
And I think it's a message for the church today.
Yes.
It's a message for the church today. Because that message should be the same as it was in 44.
This is from March 12th, 1944, out of the Daily Oklahoman, and it's a picture of Dr. W.R. White. and it says Baptist revival plans are made. Simultaneous revivals will be held in 62 Baptist churches in Oklahoma City between March 19th and April 2nd. Reverend E.L. Smith, chairman of the Extension Committee arranging the services, announced Saturday. Services during the period will be held on the streets, in factories, before civic groups, and in the jails here, he said. A number of Negro Baptist churches are participating in the religious campaign. Right here in black and white print, what you have said, but February 26, 1944, and highlighted down here, it says March 9th, April 12th in 65 neighborhoods in Oklahoma County. Christ is the answer if you want youth to be clean physically, mentally, and morally. And then it has all of the churches listed and highlighted there. It said city colored. Tabernacle, Third and Byers, EWP Rhian pastor, Calvary, Second and Walnut, A.M. Johnson pastor, St. John, it says Phillips, J.W. Johnson pastor, before Papa Jack.
Right.
We have that.
Right.
Fairview, 7th, now it says Rock Island, but I guess it was a
It was Rhode Island then.
well, it says Rock Island.
Just a Rock Island.
But it was Rhode Island.
It was Rhode Island, yeah.
So Fairview, 7th and Rhode Island, S.S. Fairley, pastor. New Hope, Northeast 7th, J.D. Provo, pastor. Shiloh, J.T. Austin, pastor. Union Baptist Church, C.C. Abram, pastor. Mount Olive Baptist Church, E.R. Neal, pastor. Antioch number 2, Sandtown, C.R. Neal, pastor.
Reverend Neal's brother.
All right. Mount Elam, First and Phillips, E.J. Jefferson, pastor. Pleasant Grove, W.R. Marshall, pastor. Antioch number 1, Fifth and Bass, L.R. Hawthorne or Wellborn, pastor. Friendship Fairgrounds, M.P. Shepherd, pastor. New Zion, 413 East First. Now this one got me, Pop. It says hold on. Let me get back to it. New Zion, J.M. Albritton, pastor. I did not know. And then we have First Baptist Green Pastures, and St. James, Parker Heights.
Yeah.
Reverend, I can't make that out. And then Mount Gilead. So here we have the colored churches. And starting at the top, you have Temple Baptist, Midwest City Baptist Church, Soldier Creek Baptist, First Baptist Church Britain. These churches are all participating.
Oh, yeah.
Choctaw Baptist.
Oh, yeah.
First Baptist Edmond. Then Nakoma Park, First Baptist Luther, Dixon Baptist, Piedmont. But then we have a Mexican Baptist church that was a part. Then City Colored, Tabernacle Baptist, first one, Third and Byers. Pastor, do you see the name of the evangelist? What's the name?
C.A.W. Clark.
C.A.W. Clark, 1944. Now, I did a little bit more research, which I knew this was true already. Dr. C.A.W. Clark did not become pastor of Good Street Baptist Church till 1950. He was 29 years young. He was one of the first evangelists that came to Oklahoma City, who we consider one of the greatest preachers that we have known.
Right.
And he was right here in Oklahoma City.
Right.
At the Tabernacle Baptist Church.
Right.
Dr. E.W. Perry, pastor. Then we have Calvary Baptist Church, Second and Walnut, Dr. A.M. Johnson, the pastor, and he was preaching. And then we have St. John Baptist Church, Second and Phillips, Dr. A.W.T. Chisholm was the evangelist.
Yeah, I don't know who he was.
Dr. J.W. Johnson, pastor. Fairview Baptist Church, Reverend Theo Rowland.
He pastored in Tulsa.
Was the evangelist.
Yeah.
S.S. Fairley, pastor.
He pastored in, Theo Rowland pastored in Tulsa. And next one is New Hope. He had A.L. Branch, he pastored in Tulsa. Next is Shiloh, he had C.C. Harper, pastored in Fort Worth, Texas. I remember him as a young boy. See, I grew up in a preacher's house, so I know all these preachers. Gadlin pastored in Tulsa. Mount Olive, C.J. Jeffrey pastored in Tulsa. T.E. Marshall for Pleasant Grove. I don't know where, I didn't know him. Friendship Baptist down in, say, Fairground. W.H. Woods pastored. That Friendship then was down the street down there from Fairview.
Okay.
New Zion. J.N. Ferguson was a preacher. And I think that he was preaching when my daddy was a boy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Mount Triumph, J.P. Patterson pastored in Parker City.
And J.J. Jones was the pastor of Mount Triumph.
Mount Triumph.
Now, this one is from 46, and it just shows the revival head, Dr. W.H. Knight, and it says that these citywide Baptist simultaneous revivals here in Oklahoma City, in the revival, 66 white, Negro, Indian, and Mexican churches. And the next one, this one is from March 28th, 1949. It has all of these churches to the left, the white churches, actually at the top, left and right, the white Baptist churches. But then at the bottom, it has Negro churches, Mount Olive, Antioch, Mount Triumph, Tabernacle. Let me see if I can see some of these names. Dr. B.M. Bailey was the
B.M. Bailey from preacher St. John. That was what you call his daddy.
So this was the Bailey in McKinney. This was old man.
No.
Not him.
No. This was the Bailey that was in Dallas. The Concord.
His daddy. I'm sorry. Yes, you're talking about Concord. So this was his daddy lived in California. Or
yeah, in Oakland.
I'll be.
His daddy did.
So this is E.K. Bailey's daddy.
This is E.K. Bailey's daddy. He did the revival. He was doing St. John's revival. What year is this?
This is 1949.
This was in 49, and he was still doing revival when I came in 63. He was still doing revival for St. John up until he passed away. And yeah.
So then you have New Hope. So at that point, Papa Jack was in 49. He was at
Papa Jack had been in St. John then for a while.
At St. John, I guess probably three years or so.
Oh yeah.
So, and then you have there's Fairview again, S.S. Fairley.
Oh yeah.
And then it looks like E.K. Franklin.
At that particular time, that was a young man from. At that particular time, he was from Arkansas, but he went from there to Chicago. And as a matter of fact, I had him back here to preach after I became pastor.
And then you have the singers. But then at Calvary, there you have S.M. Hornsberry, pastor, Hornsberry here at Ebenezer later.
Yeah, he became pastor there while I was still a kid.
Tabitha, H.L. Kemp was the
had
pastor.
Been organized then.
Mount Olive McLeod.
That's no longer a church.
Yeah, R.L. Leonard, Mount Moriah. Bethlehem Star, J.C. West.
That had become a church then.
And then New Hope. But look at this, Pastor Reed, it's highlighted. It says St. John, it just says mission, but look at that. It says Green Pastures, R.T. Combs pastor, but then I see a J.A. somebody evangelist.
That's my daddy.
J.A. Reed.
That's my daddy. My daddy was the evangelist.
Look at that, Pastor Reed. March 28th, 1949.
That's my daddy was the evangelist. Ain't that something?
Pastor, how does that make you feel seeing that? Seeing that.
It made me feel good. Well, see, I knew my dad was involved in it and everything, and when they organized it, yeah. But he was the evangelist of St. John Mission. Ain't that something? I didn't remember that last because 1949, I was quite young. I wasn't only about 11 years old. Yeah.
My.
That show you, all of this shows you what this revival has meant in these 75 years.